Hello, my name is Dr. Jeremy Hinks and I'm a leadership and development coach. In this session, the first of two, I want to talk to you about something that is a recurring theme in coaching conversations: our self-awareness and how important it is to all of us. In this session, we will be looking at about how self-awareness comes from both within us, as well as coming to us from the thoughts and feelings of other people. We will talk about developing your internal and external self-awareness and how to balance both of them effectively. First, a couple of definitions. Daniel Goleman describes self-awareness as knowing one's internal states, preferences, resources and intuitions, while Courtney Ackerman describes it as the ability to see yourself clearly and objectively through reflection and introspection. Both of these definitions capture a different sense of self-awareness, one focusing on understanding what is going on inside, and the other suggesting the importance of viewing ourselves from the perspective of others. It is also worth noticing how Stephen Covey describes self-awareness as one of the four attributes that makes us human beings distinct from other species, the others being imagination, conscience, and independent will. The importance of self-awareness is made clear given its positioning as the foundation stone of emotional intelligence. This collection of skills, first described by Dan Goleman, is now widely accepted as being essential in the workplace, in a leadership development, and simply being a good, well-rounded human being. Self-awareness is a necessary skill in supporting our self-management, which in turn supports our ability to have higher levels of social awareness and through that build effective relationships. Putting it another way, our own self-awareness helps us to recognise our points of difference in relation to others. Noticing difference means that we can be curious about it and choose to find a way to make the connection that builds rapport, which in turn may offer opportunities for working together ever more effectively. So, what then are the benefits of self-awareness? There are four main areas: personal development, in professional development, in coping with societal level change, and in our mental health. Firstly, in the area of personal development, self-awareness gives us a greater sense of confidence and resilience in the face of challenge. It deepens our emotional intelligence, and it gives us a better understanding of our strengths and those areas that we find more challenging, and it can be key to our ability to motivate ourselves. In the more professional sense, self-awareness will influence our job satisfaction, make us more effective decision makers, help us have stronger relationships with colleagues through effective communication, and impact our leadership and creativity. As you can see, there is significant overlap between those two areas, but those are profound benefits to our being in terms of our personal and our professional development. Thirdly, in terms of societal level change, these are changes that impact on localities, nations, and continents, having a unique impact on each of us, often showing up as a strong emotional connection to the issue that is changing. Self-awareness can help us to understand, process and rationalise what might start out as a knee-jerk response to that change and turning it into something that each of us can consciously choose to act on more productively. We will have recent experience of our response to political upheaval, to coping with the global pandemic, and in the crucial debate around what action we should take in the face of climate change. We know that none of these challenges, or any challenges of this nature, will be solved simply by knee-jerk responses. The final benefit is to our mental health and well-being, where it's been demonstrated that a balanced level of self-awareness is a key factor in having good levels of motivation and in reducing our levels of anxiety, stress, and depression. Self-awareness then is not just about being a better worker, it's about being a better and healthier you. Tasha Eurich writes about the importance of breaking down self-awareness into two parts: internal self-awareness and external self-awareness. These are just distinguished by where we source the information that informs our self-awareness. For internal self-awareness, that information is sourced from within, as you might guess. It is the ability to understand our values, beliefs, motivations, and our strengths, challenges, and stresses. For external self-awareness, the information is sourced from our external environment, most commonly through other people. External self-awareness is about having a clear understanding of how other people experience us and how they witness our values, beliefs, and motivations. Ulrich constructed a quadrant model using the axes that reference low and high levels of internal and external self-awareness. She characterized the 4 quadrants, the first 2 of which are captured below. In the area of low internal and low external self-awareness, she identified this group as being seekers, those people who are not clear on who they are, or what they stand for, or even how others might see them. And anybody in this situation is liable to find themselves substantially stuck. In the area of high internal and high external self-awareness, she identified engagers, who are individuals who know both who they are and what they want to accomplish. And this is enriched by seeking out and benefiting from the opinions of others. Using Ulrich's language, the journey towards greater self-awareness then is a journey from being a seeker to an engager. Now let's for a moment just assume the journey really is that simple. What are some entry-level techniques that you might choose to use to grow your internal self-awareness? They are captured in the bullet points below, and they include reflection on your experiences, regardless of whether they are big or small experiences. It's being curiosity about your thinking, but also about your feeling. It's being mindful about your behaviour and how it impacts upon others. And it's about being reflective on your purpose and whether your chosen actions are helping you to achieve your purpose. To support you in this practice, it's important that you protect time for self-reflection each and every day. It might be something you choose to do dotted throughout your day. It might be something you choose to do at very particular times, for example, at the day's end. Whichever you choose to do, make sure you capture your thinking arising from your reflection in a format that suits you. The time that you allocate, the frequency of the reflective period, their duration, and your means of capturing must all work for you and your lifestyle. You need to form a positive habit, which will only happen if your experience of reflection is of value to you. Another useful aspect of reflection is to clarify to yourself that learning has arisen from it and how you might take action arising from that learning. The other part of the journey from seeker to engager is to build external self-awareness, which can be achieved by putting yourself in the way of feedback from other people. For example, this might be formal feedback dialogue that you might get from an assessment or from a workplace appraisal. And these formal methods of feedback are all very well and good, but they tend to be only occasional. As important as this type of feedback is asking for feedback when you need it, and also being tuned into the unsolicited feedback that is coming to you all the time you are with other people. A challenge in developing external self-awareness is that the quality of the feedback you receive will only ever be as good as your ability to remain comfortable while you are receiving it. Be aware that becoming defensive in response to feedback will shut it down immediately. Avoid this by being curious about feedback, seeking clarification to ensure that you have a common understanding with the person providing it, and always thank the person who has gifted you their feedback. Part of the challenge of giving and receiving feedback is the influence of the power and expertise differential, real or perceived, between the provider and receiver. So also take care that you are aware of the positional bias that might be in play in your feedback conversations. And this awareness in itself is a great example of self-awareness. Practicing self-reflection and soliciting feedback does have the capacity to help you go from seeker towards engager. However, productive self-awareness is a balance between the two. And Ulrich talked about these scenarios in which the two are not in balance in the remaining 2 quadrants of her model. Firstly, there are introspectors who have high internal self-awareness and low external self-awareness. Introspectors are very self-reflective and inward-looking, yet they don't attenuate those reflections with evidence from their environment, either through not noticing it or by actively avoiding it. The consequences can be that an introspector may go over their analysis of the same experience again and again in what psychologists call rumination, a behaviour that is known to cause more negative moods. The other state of imbalance is one where people tend towards low internal self-awareness but high external self-awareness, and Urich characterises this group as pleasers. Pleasers focus their attention on trying to be what they think people want them to be, based upon a combination of feedback and multiple interpretations of what that feedback might mean. They try to get into the head of the people around them who are providing the feedback, to understand what they want, and lose sight of their own ability to choose and to exert their own independent will. The consequence of both of these out of balance states is closed loop thinking, leading to a sense of stuckness and inertia that will show up as procrastination and indecision. How then do you go about journeying from seeker to engager without inadvertently finding yourself being an introspector or a pleaser? Well, achieving the right levels of internal self-awareness is supported through being careful about asking the right type of questions to guide your self-reflection. Some good examples of self-reflective questions are provided to you on the slide you're looking at right now. And the key features of these are that they must focus on you and not stray into second guessing around other people. They should avoid starting with why, which tends to activate thinking in an evaluative mode, which tends to move towards a sense of blame or wrongness or a focus on failure. What, how or when questions activate experiential thinking, which focuses on how you experience the event you are focusing on. It's important that you are curious about your thinking and feelings, and you will benefit from exploring where your choices and your intended purpose had an influence. Ensure that you cover both what went well and what presented you a challenge, as learning is possible from a position of experience just as much as from one of inexperience. Finally, think about what learning you are taking into the future and how it might be applied directly and also adapted to meet unforeseen challenges. Achieving the right levels of external self-awareness require a combination of asking and telling. The very act of asking for feedback is telling people that you are open to learning from their experiences of you. You can take telling one step further and tell them what you feel you need to be the best that you can be, and then be open to the feedback that they share with you in response. On this slide you will see some exemplar questions that you might pose to your trusted friends and colleagues to solicit their feedback. You will notice that they encourage both objective, evidence-based responses and subjective, belief-based responses. Both are important to you as a receiver of the feedback, as is the importance of knowing the difference between them. The journey to greater self-awareness is a lifelong one for all of us. It will ebb and flow over time and be influenced by our current context and the accumulation of our life experiences up to our present day. The content of this resource will have raised your interest in thinking about your own self-awareness and its importance to your personal and professional development, whatever stage of your life you are at. Do think about your internal and external self-awareness and how to balance them in that ideal state of engager. Avoid the pitfalls of being a compulsive people pleaser, always looking for leadership from others, and also avoid being a ruminator, unable to break free from loops of unproductive thinking. Above all, don't forget the value of 3 simple actions: reflection, asking and telling, and their value, all of them, in generating a balanced self-awareness. I want to bring this session to a close with a quotation from Anais Nin, the French-born essayist. She said many years ago, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." And her words capture the reality that we each interpret the world around us very differently. Our self-awareness allows us to better understand what it is that creates our unique perspectives and our beliefs. Having self-awareness is the basis for us understanding that our views will be different from other people's. It offers us the opportunity to recognise and make use of those points of difference, rather than seeing them as a potential threat. Achieving this will harness diversity, leading to greater creativity and better decision making. It will also help build effective relationships that will enhance your personal and professional development. Thanks for listening.